Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Goodnight meditation. And today's subject or thing we will be talking about freeing the soul. So many of us, many people, may not be aware that we are slaves to some habits that don't allow us to experience inner peace and freedom, habits that don't allow us to have a good relationship with others, but first doesn't allow me to have a good relationship with myself. It happens automatically, and it usually becomes an addiction. We become addicted to something or someone, some type of behavior. Or we could say that it's part of our life. So there are things that we make part of our life when we should not do it, when we have the choice not to do things that it robs me away from my own peace, my own happiness, my freedom. It makes the soul a slave to some habit. So an addiction, it makes the person behave in such a way that he or she doesn't even realize. And how that happens? Let's let's look at let's look at this. How it happens. Thoughts forms in the mind. They forms in the mind first. We can say that the mind is the mother of thoughts. So many type of thoughts come in the stream of the mind, right? So let's say I am addicted to smoking, and I see someone lighting up a cigarette, and right away a thought emerges that I want to smoke. So what happens is that right away I buy a cigarette or buy a pack of cigarette and start smoking just because I saw someone smoking and this thought came in the mind. And what happens, it, it becomes an addiction whenever I think about smoking, whenever I think about cigarette. So it automatically comes in the mind, and right away I want to do it. That means that I am weak, and I am becoming weak to my own habits. That it happens automatically without me realizing it. It comes to a point that I don't have control of myself anymore. And I know that things are not good for me, and still I do it. So if something is not good for you and you know it and you keep doing it and doing it, that is a sign that you are a slave to a habit that you yourself created. So what happens, another thing is that then these thoughts, when the thought comes, it has to be filtered. It has to be decided on what to do based on the thoughts that are emerging on the screen of the mind. So the being inside the self, have to make a decision on what to do. I hold the powers to do or not to do something. If I want to finish a habit that I am often doing it, and I want to get rid of it, when the thought comes in the mind, I have to be strong. Say no. And in that way, when you say no, you are not feeding that habit anymore. And when you keep doing it, when you keep saying no, you are freeing yourself from the habit. It could be smoking, it could be drinking, it could be dependency on someone also. It could also be making decisions. So many times we let others make decisions for ourselves because I don't have the power to do it. So we just make the decision, become strong, say no to something. You will feel a little bit uncomfortable about it, but you have to decide on what is best for you, what is best for the soul, and filter the thoughts that come in the mind. Analyze them, judge what thoughts you want to let it happen, on what thought you want to add on. Because the more you do it, the more stronger you become. If you decide not to do something, that habit disappears. It takes time, it takes practice, and it takes courage. So let's do a meditation on freeing the soul from bad habits. Withdraw your attention from the physical organs. Keep your eyes open. Rest your body. And recognize your own identity, a form of powerful energy. An invisible, powerful, shining star sitting in the middle of the forehead, in between the eyes. Be aware that in that area is where thoughts are formed. And I, the living being, have the power to control each one of the thoughts that form. I, the driver of this car, decide and guide my own actions. I observe what is happening in my inner world. I see that some thoughts appear in the screen of the mind. Some thoughts are telling me to do something that is not good for my health, and I take control from now on to stop every single thought that is feeding a habit that is not good for the self. And each time I stop, that energy of the thoughts that keep me a slave to the habit, the soul becomes stronger. I start experience liberation from the harm of bad habits. I become more sensible and my mind begins to cooperate with me, creating thoughts that are more beneficial, thoughts that empower me. I observe the results of my actions. I begin to feel light. I am thinking, remembering, and observing my original self. I am a point of light, a point of energy. I am an eternal soul, thinking, deciding, acting, observing, remembering. I am the actor. I decide on what action I should do next, and that action must be beneficial for myself. An action that builds a good relationship with myself and others. In this way, we observe our thoughts that come in the mind and decide if it's beneficial for myself. In this way, I start to find out what thoughts are feeding my habits that are no beneficial for me, and start changing it. Start creating a new you. Good night. Thank you.